At some point this week, you will wake in the dark for no reason and reach for the time. It will be somewhere near 3. Ask a doctor and you get a name for it. A disorder. But one sentence in a London court record from 1699 does not fit that story at all. A woman testified that she got up and put out her fire between her 2 sleeps. The clerk wrote it down without comment. Nobody in that room asked what 2 sleeps meant. Something changed between that courtroom and your bedroom, and almost nobody noticed it happening. By the end, you will know what it was, why your body still tries it, and which ordinary object in your house ended it. Roger Ekirch spent 16 years reading court depositions, diaries, medical manuals, ballads, and prayer books. He was researching something else entirely, and kept tripping over the same 2 phrases. First sleep, second sleep. Used with no explanation at all, the way you would say, breakfast. He published the count in 2001, more than 500 separate references, and they agreed with each other. Chaucer has a character climb back into bed after what he calls her first sleep. The court record I opened with is one of those 500, and it is completely ordinary. Nobody in any of these documents stops to explain the phrase. Nobody ever needed it explained. Between the 2 sleeps sat a gap, usually an hour, sometimes closer to 2. People did not treat it as a problem to be solved. They treated it as time they had. They prayed, and Ekirch found devotional manuals written specifically for the waking hour. They talked. They got up and worked, tending fires, checking animals, mending tools, brewing. Physicians advised that the gap was the best moment in the whole day to conceive a child. That is what the written record says. Then, 3 centuries later, somebody finally tested it. Thomas Wehr ran the experiment at the National Institute of Mental Health in the early 90s. 15 ordinary volunteers. No sleep complaints, no diagnoses, nothing unusual about any of them. Every night for a month, they were placed in complete darkness for 14 hours. No lamps, no screens, no clock on the wall. Nothing at all to mark the passing time. For the first weeks, they simply slept long, paying off whatever debt they had arrived with. Then the pattern settled, and when it settled, it came apart into 2 distinct pieces. 4 hours of sleep. 1 to 3 hours awake. Then another 4 hours of sleep. Nobody had instructed them. Nobody had mentioned first or second sleep to any of them. Blood samples showed why. Melatonin stayed elevated across the whole gap, and so did prolactin. Prolactin keeps a nursing mother still and content. Physiologically, this was not insomnia at all. Wehr argued modern people are so short of sleep that the pattern never gets a chance to appear.
Now the complication, because this story is almost always told without it. In 2015, Jerome Siegel measured sleep in 3 populations living without any electric light. The Hadza in Tanzania, the San in Namibia, and the Samani in lowland Bolivia. Wrist monitors, hundreds of recorded nights. No interference with anybody's schedule. They slept in one block of about 6.5 hours. There was no second sleep. So 2 sleeps is not simply what humans do the moment you take the light bulbs away. Look at where the 2 sets of evidence come from and the contradiction starts to dissolve. Near the equator, where those 3 groups live, night runs 12 hours all year round. In Northern Europe, a midwinter night runs 16 hours, and every one of Ekirch's sources is northern. 16 hours of darkness is far more than any human body can actually stay asleep through. The gap is what happens when the night is much longer than the sleep it has to hold. Whereas 14 hours of imposed darkness recreated a European winter, and out came the European pattern. So the honest version is narrower. 2 sleeps were normal in cold northern places, not everywhere. That still leaves the real question, which is where the practice actually went. Ekirch traced the references thinning out across 2 centuries and then stopping altogether. Artificial light arrives on almost exactly the same schedule, 1 step at a time. Paris ordered lanterns hung in its streets in 1667, and London followed within 20 years. Gas lighting reached London in 1807 and spread through the century to every industrial city. Edison switched on his generating system in Lower Manhattan in September 1882. Each step shortened the night, and coffee houses gave the evening somewhere to go instead. That object I promised you at the start is probably within arm's reach of you right now. Not the phone. Not the mattress. The lamp. Consolidated sleep was assembled out of cheap light. The unbroken 8-hour block you measure yourself against is younger than the steam engine. Insomnia is a real diagnosis, but part of it is a normal pattern being read as a fault. The waking is expected. The panic that now surrounds the waking is the genuinely new part. So the next time you surface at 3 and the house is dark and completely quiet, that is not a malfunction. It is a pattern that outlasted the thing which broke it. The lamp took the hour away. Nobody ever told your body about it. You are not broken. You are keeping an appointment your ancestors kept for several hundred years.